Hello then guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we begin our final season as Roma manager. It will be our 5th season in charge. The previous 4 have been pretty good. We've won Serie A, the Champions League and the Italian Cup. Can we do it all in one season this year? The squad is starting to take shape, but without further ado, let's run the intro. Hello and welcome to episode 41 of the Roma Revolution. I'm Ben, and coming up on today's episode we have our first 2 Serie A games of the season against Fiorentina and Sampdoria, and we also take a look at some new faces that have come in during the pre-season, which has been pretty good. I will just quickly show you the pre-season results. We did a little tour of Singapore. The teams were really quite poor, so we thrashed a few of them. The main results really 4-0 against Latina and a 1-1 draw against Real Madrid. They're probably the 2 results to take away from the pre-season. The pre-season it has been reasonably quiet on the transfer front. We've not bought many in. The main man is this one. Serginho Dest has come to us from Ajax, an American international. He's going to be playing on the right hand side of the fence for us. Florenzi just getting a bit old, and David Bua still not quite up to the grade to be a regular starter. He looks really good. He has picked up an injury during pre-season, so he's not available for the first game, but hopefully we might see him for Sampdoria. Really well-rounded attributes. He just looks like he's going to be a good player for us. And he is joined on the left-hand side of the fence by none other than Juan Miranda. I was exploring the market for alternative options. There aren't really many out there. Miranda's been good for us for the past couple of seasons that he's been here. He is only in again on loan. We can't afford to buy him with the money we've been given, but him and Donati should have a pretty good bit of competition with each other on that left-hand side. Another loanee is Juan Vega, a Colombian from Manchester City in the central of defence. We've obviously lost Ramos. He has retired, so this just gives us another option there. We've now got 4 really solid options at the back with him, Mancini, Upamecano and Basia. So the defence is sorted. We're looking more at the midfield and attacking options. Dalio Quihila Border maybe. I mean, we're just going to call him Dario because I think we'll struggle for the foreseeable to say his full name. He's on loan from Liverpool. We are having to free up a non-EU spot for him, which we're trying to do. Hopefully we'll be able to do so. There's a few players knocking about that we can get rid of. He's just going to provide some really good competition to Almada once we're able to get him eligible to play. He's quick, he's got really good technical ability as well, so he may even go above Almada in the pecking order eventually, but hopefully we can get him in, and hopefully he's going to be a really good signing. There's a couple more in the offing. I won't show you them just in case, but they might well be with us by the Sampdoria game. Now, to balance the books, as you know, Cristante and Zaniolo rejected contract offers from me and went elsewhere. Justin Kluivert also went on a free to PSV. He was never going to play. He was never quite good enough for me. Young Matteo Tafini, he's gone to Citadel, 7.5 million. I thought it was a good chance to cash in on a player that might not quite reach the dizzy heights of becoming a good Serie A player for us. 7.5 million seemed a good total, so he's gone there. We've also lost Hatletin Arslan, a youngster's gone out on loan. And Maury Bamba, he's been knocking about the place a little while. He was never going to quite make it. He's gone for almost 2 million to Benevento. He was or is a non-EU player, but because he didn't go abroad and remained within Italy, we're not able to free up that spot. So there's still work to be done to get Dalio to feature, but I'm sure he will eventually. But with all that said and done, the team for today's game looks a bit like this. We have got Dragowski in goal, a back 4 of Miranda, Upamecano, Vega and Bua. Camavinga in behind Tonali and Riccardi in the midfield. Almada, Pedro and Caio George all pair up again up front. The reason we're missing some big names that you may well have noticed, Dest, as I mentioned, is injured, as is Lorenzo Pellegrini. He's expected to be out for another 3 to 6 weeks. He actually got injured in the first pre-season game, so we're going to be starting the season without him, but hopefully we can do well enough without him to begin with. He's obviously a really key player. He's probably been the best player for us since we've become Roma manager, but let's see if some of the other guys we've had here for a little while can step up too. It's a big start. Fiorentina, obviously a team that we played towards the latter stages of last season when we went on to win that Serie A title. They seem to have strengthened a little bit. They've got Gnonto, Lucas Moura in behind as well, Idrissa Gana Gay. So they have got some really good players in there. But hopefully we can get the better of them again and kickstart a really good Serie A season. And as I say, our last as Roma manager. We're going to ask the players to give our fans a performance to cheer for. As always, we have got the faith in the boys. The assistant will be off to the tunnel. And without further ado, let's begin this final season as Roma manager. Some of you may have seen, just on a side note, on my Twitter that there was a poll running for what people wish to see as my next series. It looks like it's going to be a road to glory. Director of Football Challenge was a close second, so there is a potential that the two options may well be combined, but I'll reveal more in due course. I'm just exploring who we might look to do that next series with. But for the time being, the first 15 minutes of this game have produced not a lot, so we're going to ask for a bit of creativity as we do see the first highlight, and it's Bua surging in on the right. He looks for Caio Jorge at the back post and can't be found, and now Fiorentina through Lucas Moura have a chance to break. He's past Vega, I think that is there. He slots it well wide, and we get away with what looked like was going to be a chance for us. A really good counter. Moura, as we know and have seen at his time in Tottenham in real life, has got that pace to be able to catch us on the break. But we seem to be doing all right. 6 shots, 2 of which have been on target, 60% possession. We just haven't seen any of that yet, and we're going to demand a little bit more to hopefully get our first highlight of the game in our favour. We're looking good. The team has played really well in pre-season. I know we played a couple of lesser teams, but the stats were really positive. We popped the ball about nicely, created plenty of chances and took those chances when they came. Unfortunately in this game it seems like we're not quite doing so, and perhaps Berkey in the goal, the 5 shots on target, might well be having quite a good game as we approach half time. And here is a corner. Tonali swings it in. Pedro has hit the bar. Oh, Pedro almost grabbing the first goal of the season for us. He obviously had a great time last year, almost equaling becoming the Serie A top scorer just behind Lukaku. He had a great chance to get his first on the board this year, but he couldn't quite settle it. And now Fiorentina are on the ball. Bernard just gives the ball to us quite kindly. Almada finds Camavinga, who finds Riccardi, and this is a chance for us to surge forward on a bit of a counter. Riccardi, chance to cross. Does he go to? Nacho does really well to dispossess him. And now there's a chance for Fiorentina to counter us back. But Bua wins it high up the pitch. This could end in an interesting chance, hopefully. Camavinga, back to Bua, back to Camavinga. He sprays it to Miranda, who finds Caio Jorge. The man of the moment is Caio Jorge. That's his first goal of the season. He was out for quite a while last year with injury, but he still bagged plenty of goals for us. His mate couldn't quite do it just before, but he stepped up and delivered the goods. Caio Jorge slots home, and on the stroke of half-time, it's Roma 1, Fiorentina 0. And that might make the half-time team talk a little bit easier. 14 shots, 7 on target, only 1 for Fiorentina, 60% possession, a completely dominant first half. We're going to have to guard against complacency, but what a good start this could be to the season. We've looked really good, and Caio Jorge slotted home for what could be a really important goal, and hopefully the first of many from him this season. We're just going to ask for a bit of creativity. When it's 1-0, I always worry we're going to throw these leads away, but if we can get a second, it might just ease some of the nerves. A couple of players not having the best game. Vega struggling in his first start for us. Almada was struggling, and it looks like has also just picked up an injury, so more cause for concern on the injury front. We have got a youngster on the bench in Filippo Cicci, but I think what we're going to do, Riccardi can go into the attacking midfield role, and we'll get Leandro Paredes on to play in the Mazzara role. This would be a vital time if we had Dario available. He would have obviously come on there, so maybe more pushing on that front to try and free up that non-EU spot to get him in. The player that I'm probably looking to do it with is Tueto Fozzo. He is a Cameroonian youngster who's not quite going to make the grade. He's on the bench due to the injuries we have. So if we can sell him abroad, that would be the perfect opportunity. But here's another chance for us. Miranda to Camavinga. Sprays it really nicely wide to David Bua, who can't quite beat Nacho, but he gets his pass away. And Caio Jorge scored in the first half. Pedro scored in the second. The goal-scoring boys seem to be back on form for this season as well. It's really well worked. Bua tried to take on Nacho, but he has to get the pass away instead. And Pedro slots it home, and it's 2-0 Roma. And what a start this is looking like to our Serie A season. Tonali struggling for a bit of fitness. He is going to come off for Amadou Diawara, a man we didn't see much of last year, but I'm hoping may well feature a bit more this year, with the loss of Cristante and Zaniolo obviously in the midfield. A really well taken goal though by Pedro, and that should well see the game beyond Fiorentina. We have been completely and utterly dominant, and at the moment I know not many people have played, but we're where we want to be. We're top of that Serie A table. Well run by Miranda in the middle, but Gay picks it up for Fiorentina, and they're looking to build from the back. Milenkovic finds Ajapong, who does nod on to Cutrone, who's found himself in a really good spot. Bernard hits it straight at Drakowski, who holds on to the ball really well and makes a pretty simple save, but one that did need to be made. We have got one final sub if we want to make it. No one really struggling out there, however, but Miranda is starting to drop off potentially his fitness. We could do with him based on the injuries we have. So we'll get young Singolani on the left-hand side just to give him a run out. Manuel Donati, another one on the physio's table. So for now, Miranda is going to have to play a really key role for us. So in an opportunity to take him off like there, it is worthwhile doing. And with 4 or so minutes to go, plus the injury time, we're just going to grab a bit of praise. We've had a really good game, 5 minutes of injury time to be added on, but it looks like we are going to be able to secure that 2-0 victory and make a winning start to the Serie A season, and a season that hopefully will end with us atop that table again. One final chance. Can we make it 3 at the end? It looks like there might well be a penalty. Paredes whipped in a free kick. There was men over at the back post to head it home, but instead Pezea has pushed someone in the middle, it would seem, giving away a penalty, and I think it's Caio George who's going to step up and see if we can make it 3-0 and have a perfect ending to the game. He can! He slots home convincingly. Keeper had no chance. 2 in the game for George, 3 in the game for Roma, and it finishes Roma 3, Fiorentina 0, and what a really good and convincing first day victory that is. 24 shots, 13 on target, 55% possession. Let's hope we can continue that for the Sampdoria game, and I'll see you for that one in a second. Okay then, so a busy transfer deadline day has seen Vulca Falanez leave for Sheffield United. That has freed up the non-EU spot for us. It was looking tight. He had loads of offers made for him. I accepted all sorts of offers, but he just didn't want to go anywhere. But he did finally settle on Sheffield United. But alongside that, there has been some transfers in. Keylor Navas has come in. He is here as the backup goalkeeper. He is 36 now, but he's still got a pretty rounded attributes for a goalie. Obviously, Dragowski will be the main man, but if needs be, we have got Navas to step in, who last year for PSG played 35 games and kept 30, yes, 30 clean sheets. So I think a pretty good option for us to have on the bench. Alongside him, Iliax Moriba is here from Barcelona. He is a central midfielder who just provides us with a further option in there. He looks like a pretty good player. He can also play in defensive midfield, attacking midfield and striker. So just another squad member really to fill out those areas. We also brought in Enrico Caesar, a young centre forward from Inter Milan, an Italian player. We needed to sign some just to keep with the club vision. He's only in on loan, 2-star current ability, 5-star potential. I thought he'd be a good option if either George or Pedro got injured. So all in all, we spent 64 million on transfers. We only sold 11.5 million pounds worth, but I think we now have a squad that might well be capable of doing the double, the Serie A and the Champions League double. And talking of which, our group has thrown us Ajax, Shakhtar Donetsk and Borussia Mönchengladbach. So it's not going to be too difficult a group for us to get through, I wouldn't have thought. That is obviously famous large words, potentially. But before any of that, we have got the Sampdoria game coming up, and the team for that is this. We've got Dragowski in goal. Dest makes his first appearance on the right, with Basia, Upamecano and Miranda joining him in defence. Camavinga is behind Tonali and Riccardi, with new man Dalio in behind Pedro and Caio Jorge. Thiago Almada picking up an injury in the last game, so he goes on to the physio table alongside a few. So it's really good that we were able to get Dalio in the squad and eligible with that Vulca Falanese sale. And another win would be really good. Obviously a really strong showing in the first game against Fiorentina. If we can follow that up with some good away form against Sampdoria, who have got the likes of Barrow, Adama Traore on the right for them. So Miranda may well have a difficult time of it this afternoon. But if we can get that victory, it'd be a really solid start to the season. And we are going to ask for us to go on and carry the form from the match we just had. We're going to send the assistant to the tunnel as always after giving the boys some faith. And here we go. Can we make it 2 wins from 2 at the top of Serie A? We've had 2 relatively difficult opponents. Obviously, they've been in Serie A for a long while, sort of sitting around the mid-table stroke Europa League spaces. So it's not been the easiest of starts. So 2 wins would be really good with some more difficult games coming up. And as I talk, the physio table gets ever bigger as Alessio Riccardi is now injured, but it's all good because we have new boy Moriba on the bench. So the first we're going to see of him in a Roma shirt, and fingers crossed he can do some business. Very similar to the last game, the first 15 minutes we didn't see much of it at all, so we're going to ask for some creativity, but the injuries just keep mounting up. Navas came to us with a slight knock as well, so although he's on the bench, we could do with Dragowski not picking up an injury in the game because Navas not quite fully fit if he needed to come on. But is this going to be a season of injuries? Is this potentially a theme that we're going to see? And could that well cost us further down the line? But half an hour in, we're only just seeing our first highlight, and we got it with Basia, who goes all the way back to Dragowski. He finds Dest, the first we've seen of him on this right-hand side. He plays a simple pass to Basia, to Camavinga, and Dest has found a really good position on this right-hand side. Can he deliver across? He's delivered it towards the back post. Juan Miranda has scored, and it's Roma 1, Sampdoria 0. A really good ball to the back post from Dest, who made a cracking run down this right-hand side, found by Basia, and Juan Miranda is there at the back post to head home. Fullbacks linking up in Roma shirts once again. And how good a signing does Dest potentially look? What a position he found himself there, and what a ball to pick out Juan Miranda at the back post. And it is Roma 1, Sampdoria 0. We've not seen much of the game, but the one highlight we've seen ended in a goal. Is the second going to do the same? Caio Jorge heads just over from the Tonali free kick. It looks like we're starting to create some really good chances in the game. Dalio is the one outperforming, or not performing rather, everyone else. He's just slightly below the grade. He obviously is probably looking to learn the language as well. But we get to half time. Roma 1, Sampdoria 0. I suppose the negative of the first half is the Riccardi injury, but apart from that it's looked pretty good. Let's assertively ensure we guard against the complacency, and let's get stuck in to this second half, and preferably a couple more goals. We're going to ask for some passion to begin with, and it looks like we've got a free kick, or a corner, sorry. Tonali with the corner, whips it across the front. Caio Jorge can't quite beat his man. Camavinga has a chance, and I think it's blocked on the line. That was almost the second goal. Camavinga would have been the unlikeliest of scorers, but Jorge couldn't quite get to his initial header. And Eduardo Camavinga had a chance from just outside the 6-yard box. It's really well blocked. And that could have been the goal that secured a 2-0 victory, but it's okay because Dest with the throw-in finds Pedro. Back to Dest. Can he get a ball in? He can again. Jorge beaten to it again. But Moriba. Dario! Oh, it was almost a perfect debut for Dario. He couldn't quite put his shot home, but he's well found by another new boy, Moriba. Dario in the middle of the box. His shot just scrapes wide. And it looks like now we got a free kick in a pretty handy position. And it's Dario who's taking it. Dario shoots, it's saved. And Basia with the follow-up can't quite put it home. Dario starting to show some of the class he might well be bringing to this Roma team. And there's half an hour to go. We're not quite home and dry yet. It is still only 1-0, but we're just going to make another change. We're going to bring off one of the front boys. Let's bring off Pedro. We'll get new man, youngster Cesar, on for him in the complete forward role. 2 really good chances for Dario. He's been unlucky on both occasions, but he's starting to show us what he might well be able to bring to this Roma team in the absence of Almada. We're going to ask for a bit of creativity to finish, but this is the first we see of Sampdoria. We've done well to block the initial cross, but Linity has another chance. He finds Jankto free in the middle. What a goal! It's a killer for Roma. We should well be home and dry in the game, but Jakub Jankto, from what must be about 25-30 yards, has fired in an equaliser for Sampdoria. He's completely free in the middle. No chance for Dragowski in a game in which we should be 2, 3, 4-0 up. It looks like now we're going to be scraping around at the end to find what might well be a draw. Jankto again. He's headed over. We've demanded more. We need to improve our performance. We need to find that goal, which we so deserve. 20 chances, 11 on target. We've not quite been able to find that winning goal yet. But can it come here? Cesar, he's taken down. Is he in the box? I think this might well be a penalty. The ball in from Des. Cesar's definitely inside the area. We are going to the little telly to see if this is a penalty. But the ball in, Cesar looked like he was going to take it down. And Zeballos, it looks like, is potentially taking him down. What's the ref going to say? It's a penalty! This is the opportunity then for us to secure the victory. The ref's running over. I assume he's going to book Zeballos, or at least give him a little ticking off, as they say. But here we go. He's been shown a yellow card, but Caio Jorge steps up for an opportunity with 15 minutes to go to put us in the lead. He has! It looked like he was going to be saved. Ordero wasn't far away from it. But his 3rd goal of the season, Caio Jorge slots home. And we're back in the lead against Sampdoria. Doro was really, really close to saving that one. And Enrico Cesar has won us the penalty. The new boy has proved to be an impact already. We've kept Adama Traore quiet as well. He's just gone off for Gareth Bale of all people. So another big name to keep quiet. There's a few struggling for fitness. Dest, who's just returned from injury. We don't want to push him too hard. So we'll get him off for Florenzi for the last 10 minutes or so. And can we just go and secure the victory that we rightly deserve? 25 shots, 15 on target. Sampdoria only having 4, scoring obviously from one of them. We're just going to ask for some creativity to finish. We've seen what's happened before when we haven't taken the chances. It's happened in this game where we looked home and dry and potentially going on to secure a 2nd or a 3rd. But instead we saw the Sampdoria equalise. But there's 5 minutes of added time for us to survive. And if we do, it will be 2 wins from 2 to begin the Serie A season. And that would be a pretty good start against, as I said at the start of the episode, 2 teams who are pretty good in Serie A. They're solid in what they do, but time has ticked by, and Juan Miranda and the Caio Jorge penalty has meant that Roma 2, Sampdoria 1 is the final score. A great goal from Sampdoria. We did get away with it. We weren't our usual fluent best. I would have thought with the chances we created, Pedro and George of last year may well have had an absolute hatful, but it's a win nonetheless, and form that hopefully we can continue on to the next episode, which will be the beginning of our Champions League journey. It'll be Ajax and Juventus next up. But before then, I hope you have enjoyed today's episode. And if you have, please leave a like down below for me. If you're new to the channel or not yet subscribed, then do please hit that subscribe button. And thank you all for coming along and watching.